afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Thought I'd come on through, and I thought I'd come on here and do some talking. Um, see what we got real quick. Little pictures doing some stuff. What the heck was that? Okay, I know what that was. Catching Tom Cruise dancing to Frankie Beverly Maze. That was funny. That wasn't long. So they won't hold that against me. Okay, let me get these things on real quick. We're going to take this on. We're going to come back just real quick. Latte. Okay, got that on. Okay, let me get this thing real quick. What's up? How you doing? How you doing? Appreciate everyone coming through. What's up? How you doing? How you doing? Appreciate everyone coming through. I am sending out some notifications, so don't move. That's all I'm don't move. That's all I'm doing. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Okay, I am now here now. I had to take care of some business. Okay, I am now here now. I had to take care of some business. I had to get all my. In case you're wondering why you saw the circles, it's because I had to send all my links out because everything don't come automatic. So I still do it manually. But I am on live now. Appreciate everyone coming through. I will be on for at least an hour today, and then I don't plan on coming back till Sunday. So come on now. There's a 25 to 5 to 25% chance on Friday, but I doubt it. But I would definitely come on. But anyway, well, we got 67% saying yeah, they cool with him being cut. Yeah, he deserves to be cut. He sucks. I'm not big on Stephen A. Smith, and he don't really talk about nothing. All he do is grandstand and hide behind them turkeys on there. So When you got Shaq, Charles, Kenny, Ernie, and yeah, Shaq, Chuck, and Kenny, and them guys, and you don't need to have that tired NBA crew. Malik Andrews sucks. Kendrick Perkins is a suck up slurpy up. Stephen A was whack. Michael Wilborn cornball. So get some people who actually bring entertainment, but a balanced perspective about the game, not some people that are bought and paid for. There's a balance. ESPN, never nobody wants to watch it. It's whack juice. That's why when they got back to NBC, people were excited for nostalgic alone. Because even though Bob Costas will get on your nerves and talk like he was born in 1825, and Peter Vesey number was very smug, it was still top of the line commentary, not this mess that they did on ESPN. It was just boring and bland. So I got no problem with that. Anyway, I hope everybody doing good today, and we all here today. And we're gonna be on for at least, like I said, we'll see how come people come through. So let me add these touches on here real quick. And let me add these touches on here. We're gonna see what's up. We're gonna see what's up. What's happening? How you doing? You got my message. Thank you for coming on. You got me exclusively today. Not much. As I told you, I will be today, not till Sunday. There is a 5 to 20% chance I'll be on Friday. Very slim. But definitely Sunday. I'm gonna take a few days off because I've been on for like 3 or 4 straight lives, and I'll do respect. But I am here today. Of course, you can always hit me up on Facebook if you got anything you want to say. We can communicate. It's just that definitely next two days I'm gonna be laying low. I hardly ever do Saturday, so anyway. What's up, Preston? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. But anyway, Charlene, if you got any more questions you want, your questions got me inspired. I got some future episodes that I think you will like, that I tap into some things I think that you will like. And I appreciate the questions. I can answer them. Well, no, they don't let him. They're not letting him do the basketball because the ratings is down, and he don't really seem like he's noticeable. And that's what ended up happening. And they got Shaq, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, and Ernie Johnson from the inside that's doing it, so they don't need them. And that ESPN crew is boring and dry, so he don't really do nothing. No way. He talk loud and just be loud. And if you ever seen the Django, he's like Steven. He's really like Samuel Jackson's character. He really is like that. He is a yes the boss all the way. So, but anyway, we could talk about whatever you want to talk about. I might have to work on a video about the Michael Jackson diss about the Springsteen movie thing and that nonsense. That might be coming. Got a video coming out with that. But anyway, I got some stuff coming. I got some stuff I'm working on. So feel free. And if you got questions and you want to talk, let's talk today. And if I get a good rapport, we can definitely do an hour. If I don't see no bump here, I'll just have to cut it down. So lots depends on what kind of people come through, and if people want to talk, I am live here today, so let's do it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So feel free. I think I'm getting a freeze up in here today. Bruce didn't say anything about Michael Jackson. What it was is that they was talking about the Springsteen movie, and they said because it didn't get much at the box office, and they said people tired of the pop star movie, and so they used the Springsteen movie, which you can't compare the two because Springsteen did not have that kind of appeal like Michael did. Springsteen, Springsteen. Who else? There's only one Bruce when it comes to Michael Jackson. We can't talk about Bruce Lee, even though Michael did do Taekwondo, but it's only Springsteen. And they were trying to use the Springsteen movie as the pop world and audience. And I said, look, you can't compare the two. As big as Springsteen was 40 years ago, but he never reached those heights again, and he never had the kind of he he did go diamond with Born in the USA, and he had success, but he was never in that kind of stratosphere. Oh, I can't answer that. I mean, I can't really answer that one. I would probably say Sylvia Brown, but that's not something that I really partake in. But they cracked me up though. They trying to use. Now look, Michael's movie looks far better than Whitney Houston's did. Test on the test screen, you know. And I think by it coming out in April, it'll be big boxing. Yeah, I'm getting your questions. I just said Sylvia Brown, but that's not something that I really study per se. But I got your questions. I didn't get your other questions. Did you send something else? Let me look. Did you send anything else? Because I ain't see nothing else. All I got was about this clairvoyant, and then I got the thing about that's all I got. And you asked me about Springsteen. That's all. I ain't getting nothing else. What's happening? How you doing? Irma, welcome to the place. Thank you. Yeah, anyway. I haven't only just got that one question, Charlotte. I haven't got anything else. And I heard from Irma right here, and I ain't heard nothing else. So there is more people hitting the likes, which I appreciate. Now I just need more people to come to the poll and more people to come on. That's all. See what we got. Anyway, I'm not surprised with Stephen A. People just lost, the flavor. There's no flavor on those dead shows. That's what the problem is. So you see it all the time. So yeah, I'm not surprised by it though. We're just taking it in, whatnot. Now I haven't got any more questions for anything. So we're gonna see what's up. It's in trouble. It's bought and paid for. It's in trouble. The problem is that people, what kind of jobs you're looking to get and what they're going to do, and they got AI everything computer generated. They don't pay people the way they're supposed to pay people. Teachers should be getting paid top dollar. The system is not set up to reward those. I like this question. Um, People went to go see School Days to get enlightened. They went to House Party to relate to. So if that makes sense, then you understand what I'm saying. That's a good question too. I saw both the movies and I liked them both. But House Party was more geared towards a different type of vibe. Good question though. I'm going to use that. Yeah, I just now getting it. Sometimes it be the system. So if you send them again. I'll type and you take on. It didn't take a long time to respond. I just got your School Days House Party question. I just got it. I respond. The lone thing I got from you is about the clairvoyant, and I respond to that. I told you about Springsteen's movie. You didn't say anything about Michael. It was just about that the movie didn't make that much at the box office. And so people ran with that as saying that maybe Michael's movie will have a hit because that didn't do well. Other than that, I didn't say anything else. I don't know. If you say something, I respond. Did you just get what I said about School Days at House Party? If you did, give me a one. Because I just got through. Well, I don't take no long time. I respond pretty quickly. It's the system. It's got nothing to do with me. What's happening, Tom? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a good day. Welcome to Wednesday. If you got a question, feel free. And if you got something that you're gonna ask me, feel free. But sometimes it don't just percolate like that. Sometimes it's the system. I got no control over that. I don't avoid questions. If I don't know something, I say I don't know, but I'm waiting on anything in response. So I'm just waiting. What ends up happening is that if we keep talking and we keep communication going, but sometimes there's a delay. Yeah, you know what? So I only watch in the evenings and I pick what I watch, but you got that right. And the problem is that he didn't fell out of flavor because he didn't messed up a lot of people. Oh well, come on now, no, and all due respect, you really can't compare the two because if I'm going by rapping, it's Slick Rick and the Blowout. If I'm going by streams, it's Drake because of the popularity. It's two different takes. But if I'm going by what I like, it's Slick Rick. Slick Rick was a better storyteller. People still talk about children's story. They still talk about Slick Rick. Drake ain't got nothing seeing Slick Rick. I mean, that shows you how much hip hop done changed in 40 years because Slick Rick was respected. Drake is accessible, but Drake is kind of like if PM Dawn had blew up, if some of the esoteric. Some of the cast that's kind of like esoteric, some generic. Slick Rick, that was a tough era of hip hop. Yeah, I feel the same way about Stephen A. though. Time for real. I don't waste my time with anything with Lil Bow Wow. Okay, so I like his movie acting. Okay, I don't mess with his skills. So vicious. I watch. Oh, he was wrong about Kansas City. He almost lost all his hair. I like what's his butt? The one that's with Broussard and with Nick Wright. Well, I can't think of his name right now. I like him because he be funny and he be all like he's all deep thinking and he's funny. Wows. I like Wows. Wows is the reason why I watched that show. Broussard's all right. Sometimes he cool, sometimes he be cornball. But Wows is my favorite on that show. I don't watch Colin. Colin Cowherd is a bum. He's he's basically a drunk version of Skip Bayless who stayed under the can. He shuffles and he'll flip flop and he'll say one thing and then turn around 2 hours later and say something completely different. So I don't waste my time with him. And I don't like his sidekick either. Did the fight with the wrestler and that wrestling match was going on? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that means. You're gonna have to explain that. If you're talking about the movie, are you talking about that Mickey Rourke movie? Talking about a Hulk Hogan in a movie? Are you talking about Rocky 3? I don't know where you're going with this. I don't know. I'm stumped on that one. Oh, I didn't watch that. I don't watch anything with Logan Paul. He's I try not to. I like different eras of hip hop. I think the 80s had distinctive talent. I think the 90s put things in perspective with the coast. So I think that they all had something to say. Yeah, I like Chub Rock. I like both of those songs. There's things I liked about 80s hip hop. There's things I didn't like about it. And there's things about 90s hip hop I like. Hip hop I like. There's things about 90s hip hop I didn't like. The OOs was the start of the beginning of the end. It had some moments, you know, but I think the versatility, you know, became later. Problem I only had with the 80s is that they pushed everything towards the East Coast. And they had some strong MCs, but they made it very limited. But what you had though was tight. I mean, Karis one, LL, Rakim, Houdini, Big Daddy, Heavy D is one of my favorites. And uh, uh Young MC, yeah, yeah. So he had some stuff. hmm I have to think because there's so much Ice T was cool back then. There was a lot. hmm Public Enemy, NWA. Well, some people mixed emotions with it. So it all depends on where you come down with it. So, oh, well, I'm not. Well, see, first of all, that's where I'm not gonna. Aren't Andrew Schultz? I don't watch nothing with him. He's a big time bigot, so I don't watch nothing with him. I haven't. Unfortunately, there was a movie I watched and he was in it. Yeah, but like I said before, there's things that I like, there are things I don't about that era. They were very East Coast biased. So some things I like, some I don't. You're not gonna get me to say it was all good because Curtis Blown on with Big and I like Grandmaster Flash Furious 5. But see, the problem was is they didn't share to the West Coast. They were very biased. And of course the South, the Ghetto Boys came out later. So I don't clap for all of it. Some things I like, some I didn't. And all those things, don't forget about the Fat Boys. Some of them acts were novelty, and some of them acts were good. So that's not. I don't want to romanticize. There was things I like. I obviously, um, Planet Rock, Africa Mabata, and them I like that. There was things that I like. They cutting his load, but that's a big load. Let's keep it 100. That's how he really got through the networks through basketball. Well, who are you though? Hello, who are you? What's your name? Are you even real? um, that's a big hit because he's basketball identified. He that's how he made his name. That's how he cut his chops. Basketball, you know, when you think about it. What you mean relax? I don't know who you are. And, introduce yourself. Okay. Well, appreciate you coming through and, tip my hat. Yeah, when he has that's how he got through is because of basketball. He doesn't have anything else that I already said Whodini. Whodini was my favorite hip hop group back in the 80s. And I liked them. Only thing about 80s hip hop, it was very much biased. And if I have a problem with some of the stuff, that's where I'm coming from. Because in hindsight, they were very biased against the West and the South, you know. So, you know. It'd be one thing if everything was on the up and up. See, to be honest with you, it wasn't until the 90s where all systems go. Yeah, I know you did. And Curtis Blow need to be mentioned, and Slick Rick and Dana Dane, and obviously Mitchell Latifah, MC Light, Stetsasonic, all that. Slick Rick for me, because aside from commercial success, he couldn't do nothing over Slick Rick. Slick Rick was one of the greatest storytellers ever. Scarface was one of my favorites. Yeah, I liked his flow. Mm-hmm. Talented musician too, Brad. I liked his Tiny Desk. I watched it too. Yep. Him and Slick Rick. They did all that back 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. Ain't nothing new. Ain't nothing new. Salt and Pepper too. Let's not forget they came out in '86. They don't get their due. Treacherous 3, Kumo D, Ice T, Too Short, all that. So, but having said all that though, sometimes some stuff gets more romanticized. The only thing I will say about that is that you had to be original and you couldn't be a biter and you had to have some game. I'm not gonna sit there and tell you that was the best day of hip hop because it wasn't. I think, being honesty, I think the '90s shaped it up better or for worse. Take it how you want. Because at least in the '90s, you had all regions, you had all styles, you had men, women, groups, you had a little combination of everything. And you had some legitimate beefs and you had some you had stuff. It wasn't as one sided. So when the South took over, the West took over, the Midwest, East Coast, everybody had their hands in it. That's the reason why I get the '90s. Rakim. That's not up for discussion. Cause see, one thing about Rakim, he didn't get into anything petty. You really think he's gonna spend his time dissing um the equivalent to Drake back then? No. He's still cold on the microphone. And I like Kendrick, but he ain't seen no rock. He ain't seen nobody that I saw back in the day. Mm-mm, mm-mm. And I dare anybody who grew up on hip hop to sit there and say, "Oh, that he would be able to touch." No, the '90s was the last of that era. Jermaine was pop locking and everybody. Now, I did love UTFO. The Juice Crew was one of them that I remember. The Lockers. I remember all them cats. And they were bad. They were bad. That's a whole nother topic in itself. Because if you know anything like Turbo and Boogaloo, and I watch all the breaking movies and all that, cats pop lock with everything. And Cruise was legit. So when Hammer did it, it had a whole mainstream. Actually, let me take you back. The Ohio Players, when they did Midnight Special back in '75, when they did Fire and Love Roller Coaster, they had the rollerbladers popping and locking. So that they was doing it back then as far as more modernized. They had a crew on skates and all that. Nothing new though, so but yeah, Jermaine Dupri danced with everybody. He danced with Lionel Richie in LA for the Olympics back in '84. But anyway, yeah, I remember those crews. That was a distinctive time back then. We had so many, like I said. But like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and romanticize it either. And as far as the '90s, that's the golden era of hip hop, as far as I'm concerned, because everybody had a chance to be in the pot and to play. The OOs was like the beginning of the end. Yeah, well, when I mentioned Ohio players, because they had roller skate cats on the show. Nobody else did that. I don't recall any of the other R&B bands or groups doing that. The Ohio Players had cats on roller skates. So if you actually look at the old footage from Midnight Special, they were actually up there dancing the fire with roller. They were rollerblade. They were actually poppers. So Commodores, Earth Wind, Barcades, none of them I remember having. P Funk, I remember them having any. You know. So, but hip hop, used to. Then you had people like Kid and Play where they didn't need it. I miss when cats used to have wheels on stage. Hammer, well, that's the one thing I'll say about Hammer. He has some wheels on stage. They don't promote that no more. And them cats started doing the one, two, three, and four flow, and then the music went slow and their wheels went off. Okay, what we got so far? How you doing? Good to see you. Been a while since I seen you. Thank you for coming through. I know time permits and everything. I glad to see you. Appreciate you coming through. Better late than never, though. And please hit the like up too. Glad to see you. Appreciate everyone taking the poll. The poll didn't talk a life of its own. I got more poll live than I got live loves. But feel free to hit them both though. The Warriors, come on now. I like the Last Dragon because it's something that I like, and he was cool. But come on now, the Warriors was like a way of life. The Last Dragon was like some fantasy, which was cool, but It's not the same. It's not the same. It's cool though, but it's not the same. They're gonna lose to my Heat tonight too. And I heard Steve Kerr up there crying. I did a video where I dissed him too. They're talking about the pace is too fast. I'm like, shut up, man. Say, look, y'all the ones who created the pace. Got you 6 trips to the finals. You got you 4 chips. The heck you talking about the pace is too fast. Too many back to backs. Problem is you stuck with old men. That's what it is. You stuck with some grandpas and they don't have the juice and the fortitude to get it done. That's what's up. Don't play no defense and you ain't got no size. You ain't got no cake in the glass and you in trouble. You blame it on this and that. Then they not gonna. I already told you what they gotta do. I tried to tell you before. I said, look, unless you go out try to get somebody like Giannis, Steph is just gonna be stat pad the next 2 years, which ain't nothing wrong with it because he's got the resume. Get your 30,000 points. I ain't got no problem with it. I did a video about that. I got a video. If you watch my videos, I did a video about that today, and it's coming out tomorrow. So if you watch it, I want you to comment on it if you can. Uh, this is the only problem I have with the Pistons. They do this every generation. They do a decade where they are really good, then they stink it for 6, 7 years, and they come back, and then they take off like 6, 7 years, and you forget they're kind of like the New York Giants of basketball. When they win, it's ugly, but you know it. When they lose, it seems like it goes on for eternity, and it's just amazing when I think about it. But they are because I got to ask. I said, Cade Cunningham is this year's Tyrese Halliburton. And the fact is, without Boston down, Indiana down, um, oh God, I couldn't stand either one of them, but I give it the total by default. Uh, Cleveland, I don't trust. They too soft in the cakes. They got more talent, but they soft. Boston don't play no defense, and I don't think Jalen Brown. I don't think Jalen Brown can get it done. They ain't got. I don't think they got the parts. And New York is soft. They missing something. Because Cat and Brunson just ain't enough. And then I understand get rid of Tears, but they missing something. So yeah, Pistons could come out the East. And if they playing with that kind of passion, they playing with team ball, they gonna be tough to beat. They look feisty. Well, think about it. Who's a team that plays ugly, wins ugly, and yet got a lot of rings, and you forget about it because they style. It's a style thing. Who would you compare the Pistons with to an NFL team? Who? Because Isaiah and Joe and them was beating up on just like the Giants. And that's not no diss. No, y'all not the Steelers. Y'all not the Steelers. The Lakers are front runners. Don't believe the hype. When they got they behind spanked by OKC, when they gotta play against teams that can defend them. No, but no. See, this is the thing. Lynn Swan played pretty. Y'all ain't never had nobody play like Lynn Swan. Um, maybe if you use the Roethlisberger Bradshaw analogy, but uh, they had some stuff. He is the truth. To me, he's the MVP again. And they are so cool and quiet, and they just taking care of business. They are Golden State of their generation, and I think he is the Steph of his generation. Minus he's not considered, but as far as being able to dominate, he's giving me Steph kind of as a guard position. He gets any shot he wants. He can really just, you know, yeah. He and you forget that Starwolf was better, and Starwolf was great to watch too, because Starwolf was long and lean and could jet. A Super Bowl against the Rams, people forget that, you know. But that ain't gonna happen because he ain't that kind of player. Stop saying that. He doesn't have that kind of game. If they don't do it to Jokic, they're not gonna do it to him. You know. Swan was something else though. But so was Stalwart. Oh god. 112 by default. But this is where we're in the second tier pile. And I'm not big on 112 or Jagged Edge, but I give 112 the edge. They had a couple songs I like. Jagged Edge had a couple songs that were okay, but you know. I think if you put them both together, you might pretty good group out of it, but left to their own devices, mediocrity. Yeah, well, I was trying to be kind because if she gives me a poll question, he is a complete package. I love his arsenal. That's why I said if he wins another ring and another league MVP, you're gonna have to put him as one of the in the top 25 ever because his stats is gonna merit the numbers. He's only gonna keep getting better, and eventually you're gonna have to think about where you rank him. I think he's that good. No, I know he's that good. I won't just say I know he's that good. You know, well, you ain't gonna get it unless it's the refs. You ain't gonna get it unless, of course, they feel like making Detroit stop them or some kind of incredible upset. But I'm gonna tell you something. What I said is coming to pass. Chad Holgram is starting to come on, and I'm watching him. So I'm telling you, they gonna be a tough team to beat. They got a starting kit, bench kit. They're gonna be hard to beat. Yeah, but they don't have no depth though. That's the only problem. Not enough. More popular was the Spice Girls. Who did I mess with was TLC. Yeah, I answer that. Yeah, I know what he is, but he got to stay healthy, and they got to get some defensive stops. They need a bench. They need another score. You know, he can't do it alone, and they sure as heck ain't that deep. And he has a lot of room for growth too. You know, told you it takes a few years to get it there. Why you think it took Jordan and Shaq and LeBron them, 7, 8, 9 years to get it? Magic was because he had the Laker fit. Bird got in quicker and Duncan, but most of the time it takes a cat about a good 6, 7 years before he gets his seasoning. And if he's healthy and he's got the right pieces, then he's winning a ring or two. So it's gonna take a while. He's still about a couple years. He gotta get healthy, gotta get his mind right, gotta get the right parts. They're a great team. They're not good, they're great. Good is a team that, has got some games over 500 and you go, yeah, that's a good team. Great is when you can win a bunch of games and you're just stacking up and no one is like in your window. That's how I feel about it. She can't even articulate in English. How the heck she gonna give a speech? She just doing that because she's trying to cover up her, was it the brother and the baby daddy, the pervs. That's all that's about. I'm supposed to believe that she's some deep thinker now. That's what we're told. Because she puts on the voice to sound dignified to the powers that be. Even though she's far from it though. If this was about 10 years ago, he get out the way now. He ain't stopping nothing. Nothing special to me. Just scripted. I don't pay no artists no attention when they give speeches like that because stuff is bought and paid for. Great to see you again. Peace and the best. Hope to see you soon. Thank you for coming through. Don't be a stranger. Best to you and your fam. KG, he ain't no stopper. All right. Back to what? Back to what? It's Luca's team. You ain't get the memo? You ain't got the memo? It's Luca's team, yo. Shoot, he just a happy participant. He's trying to probably get out of town. That's what he's hoping for. And I'm gonna tell you one or two things gonna happen with LeBron. He's either gonna get traded or he gonna have to take the third seat. He's gonna have to play behind Austin Reeves. They're not gonna. It's not going on. They're gonna ask him about that cell phones that got hijacked too. You'll see. Hmm. See. Yeah, well, Austin Reeves got to be your second best player because that's the only way it's going to work. Because if LeBron is your second best player, then Austin Reeves is going to take a detour. And actually, D. Ayton has actually got to be your third best player. He has to man the inside. So that's how it's got to be. It's got to be Luca, Reeves, and D. Ayton, and then LeBron is the fourth wheel. He can't be the second, and he can't really be the third because then that messes with DeAndre. So I'm telling you what it has to do. He actually has to be the fourth best wheel. Luca and Reeves have to dominate, kick the ball to D. Ayton, and then LeBron's the one that can you know if he doesn't get it like that, then it doesn't work. But I'm not worried about it because they're not championship worthy. They have to give up a bunch of points to Utah, who's got a one man team. I'm not tripping about the Lakers. So, all right, let's see what we got. All right, don't go too far because I need some commentary. It's been quiet here today. And like I told everybody, I'll be back on Sunday. It's a slim to none that I'll be here on Friday. I'm definitely not here on tomorrow and Saturday. So if you want to do some live talking, let's get into it. Okay. Can't see nothing. I can't see what anybody's doing. So let's see what we got so far with the poll. 70% saying yes, they happy. That's what I expected. I expected that. He ain't getting no love. Hmm. Okay. What does that mean in English? That's kind of an ice. Well, so is the hat? It's not a cowboy hat. We'll get the Stetson, but it's more of a Styles hat. Not quite the same. But please hit the like up too, by the way. If you enter, come on, hit the like. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Welcome aboard. Where you coming from today? I don't know who you are, so you can't tell me to do something when you don't even say nothing. I'm waiting on people to talk, and it's a lot of delay. So I would appreciate before people are rude. If you're gonna say something, tell me who you are before you make comments. I've been waiting on people's conversations, and it's kind of sluggish. So please refrain from disrespect. 73% are saying they cool with Stephen A being cut from the NBA broadcast. Not surprised or shocking. Not surprised or shocking at all. I don't know who you are, and I wish be so kindly if you ain't got nothing nice to say or you have no comments to say, then refrain from coming on here at all because it feels like someone's trolling. And I already said that if people communicate, I'm very much awake. UK, what part of UK you from? That's subjective. That's subjective. Um, he wasn't funkier than James Brown, and he didn't uh utilize the groove as James Brown. However, musically, sonically, he was more versatile than James Brown. It's subjective because James Brown was an influence on him. So did he surpass the teacher? That's the better question. In some ways he did, in some ways he didn't. Some ways he because he was more worldwide and he was more versatile. But it's a tricky question because depends on what your criteria is. If your criteria is the studio albums, Michael got him beat. If your criteria is the stage, prime and prime, that's debatable. Depends on what your criteria. If it's about the funk, it's James Brown and the blowout. If it's about versatility, it's Michael Jackson. So it all depends. Aretha, she got a better catalog. That's and though I got them one and two as far as my females go, it's not even close as far as catalog because Aretha's catalog is one of the best I ever heard from any artist. She soulful, she had the cuts and she had versatility. You know, you go from a song like Respect to doing a gospel album in '72, Amazing Grace, and then you do, Sparkle soundtrack. I mean, just she had more material that kind of hit me. We didn't have crazy commercial success though, but just off of career, my obvious career is going to be based on what I like with the music. Ooh, ooh, that's a good one. Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, ooh, ooh, oh. If I could just go off a catalog, dang, that's tough. I got to give it to the Supremes because they had the better songs. That you could take those. You took their best hits against the best hits. Holland Doja Holland for the W. Man, that was a tough one. That was one of the toughest ones I ever encountered because you went into the wheelhouse. But you see, when we do it like that, and if I do catalog where I don't include just someone writing all their songs, but I include all the catalog with others, then I have to give it to the Supremes. Because Aretha's early ruckus weren't that good. She tried to be more jazz and blues. She pulled the same stunt that Marvin Gaye did. And she couldn't quite till when she did get the Dionne Warwick thing right with Daydreaming. It took a little time and it got it right. Anything from 67 through 77, she was peaking prime. But that just so happens the Supremes were like golden from 64 to 70. So Supremes had the songs. Yeah. Flow was bad, but again, Aretha had more versatility with hers. I mean, when you go Chain of Fools, Respect, the gospel music. And again, that's not fair to Flo because Flo didn't get to showcase a solo career. That's the difference. You have to pretty much have showcased. I'm not gonna really take somebody in a group because that's not fair. Unless, of course, like if you were going voice and you told me Levi Stubbs from the Four Tops versus Marvin Gaye or something, or David, those guys. But even then, that's not fair because they were limited because they were in a four-part harmony. So it's not fair to compare someone in a group to someone that's a solo artist. especially if they were, unless of course you think they sound better. And what I heard of Flo, she was good. I'd still take Aretha though, but Flo was bad though. Yes, and she played with Ray Charles. That should tell you something right there. Gospel, sheep, jazz, blues. That's why I hold in high regards. I'm gonna see it like this. Let me cut long story short. When they had the top 75 R&B acts and they had her, Stevie Wonder, and Michael Jackson as the top three, I say, okay, I'm good. I'm good. We can go 4 to 10, however you want, but them three, I'm good. I won't even argue against those three. So, and I became acquainted with her skill set when I saw the live at the Fillmore. If you ever get a chance to see that one or hear that, "Stop in the Name of Love" for me. That's not fair because pop songs were bigger back then, but "Stop in the Name of Love" still sounds good. I know Quincy Jones produced "It's My Party," but I'm taking "Stop in the Name of Love." You know, and it sounded very whitewashed too. It was just a catchy little groove. It's okay. To me, yes, because as an arranger, he's and how he could put people together and create, and also understanding music and certain things he would do. But he wasn't no songwriter like that. He wasn't an instrumentalist quite like that. He was a marginal trumpet player at best. He did know some synthesizer. He did some parts on elephant synthesizer, and he knew how to put stuff in scale. He could do stuff like that, technical. Uh, he didn't really change his charts. James Ingram rearranged "How Do You Keep the Music Playing." If you bought James Ingram's greatest hits in '99, he changed the songs that they did together because he said Quincy didn't change the charts. So he took a lot of credit for stuff. But to his as an arranger, the man got Lee Ritenour to do the guitar part on Strawberry Letter 23. He knew how to like bring in like human nature. He knew who to get the right people for parts. He had a music mind, like incredible. But when we talking producers, he wasn't like Tom Bell. Tom Bell did parts left and right, you know. It wasn't like he was doing like Gamble and Huff. It wasn't like um, you know, he knew stuff. But Charles Stephanie was like a bad dude for Earth, Wind& and Fire. Like Stephanie would run circles around Quincy, you know. If you understand technical. So and he's been romanticized because of who he's worked with in part. Yeah, he knows some stuff, but he been romanticized of how, and it was magic working with certain people. But everybody who worked with him also said how frustrating he was too, for the most part. Because Aretha Franklin got into it with him, Donna Summers did, Michael got into it. He tended to burn bridges. He always presents it like he just eating food and having fun and enjoying, but he did used to fall asleep at the council, and he had understudies who did the work. Rod Temperton did work. Glenn Ballard did work. So he had his understudies, underlings. No one will ever come out and say nothing because Quincy was like, when they have the money, man, they put money on people. There's a lot of stuff about the business but to say that, yeah, I'd say he was. It's not quite the way you think it is because it gets romanticized because again, you know, once you understand the music and how people produce and create stuff, it's not like, you know. But he was the guy, he was the brother who broke barriers at a time when there was so few. That I will give him that. That was a fact. Because when he did It's My Party, he was the first black, uh, he was in a vice president, no, now non Motown situation. Anyway, let's see what we got. I usually don't even get to ask that too often, but I like it when somebody do. He did know how to get stuff out of artists though. He knew how to challenge them. So that's something I will give him. Because it takes a great ear to have a good ear. You gotta understand details. He understood attention to details. I'm surprised the views ain't as strong because the poll is doing great and I got a double digits like, so it's incredible as far as that. Still a lot of people saying this glad Stephen A ain't coming back. Not surprised by that at all. Oh yeah. Stephen A's going, yeah. Okay, let's get some more questions in here because there's people getting quiet. And I don't know if it's a delay or what's going on. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. We're trying to get some connection. I'm very quiet. I'll be there in a blowout. Because Trey Lawrence, if nothing else, helped Mariah out with I'll Be There. Mary J be straining too much trying to sound like she's hitting notes of pain. She can't do it. She was okay on Sweet Thing with Shaka. What's happening? How you doing? Gracie Lee. Don't know. But hello. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate it. Sweet Thing was decent. Natural Woman, no. She strained too much. Sweet Thing was cool. Sweet Thing was cool. She still ain't touching Shaka, but it was cool. No, when you hear Aretha Franklin sung that song, Aretha put something on it. Mary J had the rawness to her, but she ain't putting none on it. Okay. I've heard of Demone Hunter. Okay. Nobody had gonna become a conversation today. Okay. I hear you. Okay. I don't know what that means, but I'll just nod. Let me see if anybody gonna come on, because if nobody's gonna come on, I'll be on for about 12 minutes or so. We got another at least 10 minutes, so appreciate everybody that's hitting the likes and the polls though. That's definitely make me feel good. Not a lot of people on the view tip today, but a lot of poll and likes, which I appreciate. Thank you so much. That's overwhelmingly great. That's a feel good moment. So excuse me. I am awake. I am just waiting on questions. That's the only thing. So when people start talking, I got. Well, I'm going to be on for another 10 more minutes because I'm waiting for conversation. And it's gotten kind of quiet and no one is really talking. So I don't want to be on more if I'm not getting conversation. That's what the purpose of live is, to interact and have communication. So yeah. So I'm waiting on conversation. We can talk about whatever. 69% still. Should be higher for Stephen A. I heard what it means. I'm not gonna say it. You can Google it. And you have to find me on Facebook. I'll talk about it. Lauren Hill, come on now. Lauren Hill, come on now. Just tell me so more rockers, Beyonce so, but Lauren Hill, come on now. Can't take my eyes off of you. Yeah. I have to give it to Lauren Hill on that one. You gotta go. I no one's just communicating. So and I told you people don't talk. I'm waiting on people to give conversation. So yes, you kind of will nod. I'm supposed to sit here and make faces when people aren't communicating. I'm waiting on conversation. So refrain from saying stuff. If you're not got anything to say, then we're gonna have to call it a day. If you want to know what those terms mean, you can Google it. I'm not gonna say that. I don't talk that way. Mhm. Prince wrote Kiss. So what you talking about? Tom Jones did a remake of Kiss with the Art of Noise. So that's not really a valid question. Now unless of course you're talking about the Maserati version, which I don't think you're talking about, but then Kid Prince would still win though. But Prince wrote Kiss though. No, Tom Jones covered it from Prince. I gotta remember that people of a certain age may not, Now I will say this: Prince took the group, the band Maserati, who was signed to Paisley Park Works, were supposed to do Kiss, and he flipped the whole version. He took bits and parts from a Bo Diddley riff and from a Peggy Lee. He took a chorus part, but it's his song. Tom Jones covered from Prince. So if you didn't know, now you know. But it may, it's so long ago. That was, yeah. Yep. And Prince didn't do a lot of covers. Not the early part of his career, not for recording. So okay, we're just waiting to see if anybody's gonna got anything else to say. It's been kind of, like I said before, I gotta deal with people that are trolling, can't have conversation. We're gonna have some conversation here, one way or the other. Mm, Celine Dion, I have to give it to her on that one. Now, if you had said "I believe in you and me," I would have said Whitney. When you said "the greatest love of all," I would have said Whitney. You said "I always love you," I'd have said Whitney. But you know, so all right, we got a couple more minutes before I roll out. And like I said, I'll be back. It's a slim to none on Friday. It's very slim to none. Definitely on back on Sunday. Whitney by default. Whitney by default. Wasn't crazy about every woman, but she still sang better than Celine did on that. How do I say it? There's certain things that, mm-mm. Certain things I like, some things I don't. Mm. Shy lights. Um, Shy lights. I like the Manhattans, but Shy lights gotta be. Eugene Ruckert was something else as a writer. Manhattans has some really strong songs, and I do like me some Gerald Austin a lot. But the Shy lights got them beat though. 71% saying Stephen A. Gots to go. That's cool. All right. See what I got real quick. Appreciate everybody that came through today, and thank you for thoughts and comments. And you know, I'm going with Whitney because to do a four tops club, that was something else. But Maxwell, that's one of his apex vocally, but I still got Whitney. And tell people don't sleep on Whitney has some stuff, so don't sleep on it. Anyway, like I said before, I will be back more than likely Sunday. Question mark for Friday. Very thin line. Other than that, if I don't see you till Sunday, stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, and be back in a few days. All right. I'm out. Peace.